Oh my god. Hi, Vaughn. Perfect timing. What's going on, dude? I am here. My tooth hurts so bad. I've had a toothache all day, and I have stuff to numb it, but uh, the pain is persisting. I think I need to take some pain medication. It's so bad. It's so bad. Uh, hello. I've had a terrible day of just pain. Um, really trying to think about a tooth joke, but I lost it. Is that a joke in itself? Vaughn, you make me cringe. Get on. Get on. You make me cringe. Get on. Okay. I have a special thing before stream starts. Nobody saw it, by the way, so I'm just here. Oh, did Vaughn just get on? Is that what just happened here? Yep, Vaughn just got on. Hi, Vaughn. Um, so today's December 1st, meaning I have an advent calendar that is Lego Star Wars themed. Lego Star Wars, and I'm gonna open up number one, and we're gonna see what it is. And I'm gonna try and do this every day on stream. I don't think I'm gonna do it every day on stream because I don't really stream every day, but we're gonna try our best. Um, where's this first one? Oh my god. What is this first one? It doesn't give me instructions for it. So I don't know. Oh, what the I don't know what it can be either. It's just pieces. It doesn't give me like instructions at all. Oh, Alex is on. Wow. Oh my god, it's because I opened up the wrong one. Yo, what's up? One sec. Stream couldn't hear them anyways. So I'm stupid, and I opened up the wrong one. But the instructions are on the side right here. Um, so I don't know what the fuck this is, but I'll build it later, and we'll figure out what it is. I'll build it later, and we'll see what it is.
This chapter.
Yeah, it ends in just a couple days.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Yo. I would be better, but you know, I'm here now.
Yeah, you want to
Yeah,
explain
Mr.
about
locked
locking
himself out of his car.
It's exactly how it sounds. I went to Maggie's house after work, and like we were eating in my car because like I haven't ate dinner yet, so I was like, okay, let me get some Taco Bell. So we ate in my car before
Yum.
heading inside of her house. Well, apparently I didn't grab my keys from the ignition. I did lock my doors, thankfully, so nobody could just walk in and take the car. But yeah, so I went outside and I went to go reach my belt loop where I normally hang my keys, and I go to reach there. I'm like, oh shit, it's not there. So I check my pockets. I'm like, maybe I just put it in my pockets. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's not there. I flash my flashlight on my phone into the window, and there it is. I see it dangling from the ignition.
In
I'm
the
like,
ignition.
motherfucker.
Oh.
Thankfully, my mom had a spare key.
That's good.
Yeah, so I just called her up, and she came over and got it for me. But god damn it.
What a nice
Yeah, that's why
adventure
you
for
always give
huh?
your spare to someone like your mom or even like Maggie. You
Yeah,
give them a spare.
when I get my new car during tax season, I am making a duplicate and giving it to Maggie. So that way I won't have to call someone else that's super far away because I was at Maggie's house in this case. So
Yeah, normally cars should have uh
Hairpins.
or normally people give you both keys. Like normally they
yeah.
come with both keys and they give them to you.
hmm
Like I have my mom's spare.
hmm
Um
For very rare instances because, well, you don't drive.
I don't. But it's easier for me to go out to the car than it is for mom to go out to the car, especially since
Yeah, I
now
get that.
we're on 2 stories. So
hmm
if she needs to get into the car late at night and she doesn't want to go downstairs, she calls me.
Okay. I have a request that in 2 of our games we go to Rave Cave
Sign me out.
and Lustrous Lagoon, or one game where we go to both places.
No.
Okay.
Do you think one of these POIs is gonna be really like memorable?
Let me look at this map again.
Because like honestly, the logjam.
Reality Tree.
Yeah. Because honestly, for me, is Rave Cave.
Well, if
Camp Cuddle before
Jackie
change.
and Feck both are gonna be on, we're gonna be on Team Rumble anyways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I may hop off and end up doing duos with Maggie when she hops on, because I'm gonna help her get some missions done. Hi.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, sorry, I forgot my open mic. Okay, bye.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I'd say Reality Tree is a good memorable spot. Rave Cave for sure, as well as like earlier in the chapter. The fucking log jam, yeah.
Logjam, Camp Cuddle.
What was that? What was the place in the top right? Is it Salty? Salty
Wait, what?
something? It's currently called Shiny Sound.
It was Sleepy Sound.
Yeah,
Sleepy.
Sleepy.
Yeah, that one's probably gonna be memorable because of how bad it was.
My God. There was
Lustrous Lagoon, when it was Spider-Man's place, like everyone's gonna remember that.
Daily
Coney
Bugle, yeah.
Jonesy, I feel like it's pretty important.
Coney Crossroads was alright.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I also kind of like Chunker Speedway.
Chonkers, yeah.
Chunkers.
Chonkers never like changed. Neither did
No, it
Greasy.
did not. Not even like with a little bit of chrome or anything. It's just there.
I mean,
Did Synapse
Greasy-
change at all?
Wait, what?
No, Synapse was always
Station?
Synapse.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they introduced
And
that
same with
in season
Grim
2.
Gables.
You guys just gonna leave me alone over here?
I'm doing it. I got it. I moved.
Okay, so
I'll be on my
I-
own side. It's,
if I-
What
if I
the
have
fuck
to
you
be
mean? I'm
honest-
here, bitch.
if I have to be honest, Alex,
Yo.
this
Hi Maggie, welcome to the stream.
with this map and then the current map changes that we have throughout this chapter was way better than chapter 2. If I have to be honest.
Okay,
No.
I will say there was more changes this chapter, but I prefer the changes that happened in chapter 2.
Same.
I don't know. I just because it was just mainly like green, plain green.
Are we gonna forget about the point, like when the entire map was underwater?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
we
Chapter
did
2,
have the
Season
upstate
2
New-
into Chapter 2, Season 3 was literally the best Fortnite could ever do.
Like that is literally the best changes any Fortnite season has had.
It's the best.
That was really unique.
Like even though everyone hated it, because I was not a big fan of like water everywhere,
Yeah, I didn't like
It
the
was still-
underground. Or under.
it was
you know what I
still
mean.
the best changes any map in Fortnite has received.
So what's
I really like this map more.
We're talking about what chapter was better for Fortnite.
I really like this map more, but I hate the changes a lot.
You mean Chrome everywhere?
He means Chrome, yeah.
Yes.
I think before the Chrome, it was better.
Yeah.
I would say before Chrome, because like
Also,
you know,
can we talk about what the fuck? Why is season 4 the last season?
Yeah, dude, fucking
Um,
Christ.
I think
It
it's
went from 10 to 8 to 4.
It's because the reason being is because like you know with the first chapter, everybody was already getting bored with the first map because it was like
And
going
now
on for
everyone
10
wants it back.
seasons. And then same with the chapter 2 map, they were getting bored of it after like maybe like the 5th season. And you know, Epic was like, all right, well, let's end it on the 8th season.
What they
And
want is
almost-
a return of the first map.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's happening, honestly,
I'm
unless we
not-
were to have a choice of it.
What I'm saying is what's going to happen in the future, when the game is officially dead, when they're done doing live events and things like that, what they're going to do is they're going to have a map rotation type thing where it's like, this week you'll play on the Chapter 1 map. This week you'll play on the Chapter 2 Season 2 map, you know?
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do when the game dies.
I don't know if it's gonna be weekly.
Where are we landing?
I would like that.
It'll end anywhere.
Like, is it going to happen? No, but it would be nice.
I don't
think,
think it's gonna be 1 week this, 1 week next. I think it's gonna
Well,
be
it's probably gonna be like 1
each.
month or something.
No, I think it's gonna be each game rotation, depending on if their servers can handle it.
I don't know, because there's a lot of variations of the Fortnite map, including like the tiniest of changes.
I feel
mean,
like
'cause,
they
like,
should just replay it all from the start.
I mean, they
Just-
made a whole big deal about the loop in Chapter 2, and they never did anything about it in this
Just,
season.
just start the whole thing over again, like from the beginning, and then same amount of time. It just slowly builds up back to this, and then resets it.
I think what they're because like what the foundation said in the beginning of chapter 3, he said that you know we're going to destroy the imagined order and we can all go home, but since we
I mean,
you know,
isn't that
destroyed
what
them-
Bite is doing?
What do you mean?
The character Bite?
I have no idea
Oh
what he's doing.
fuck! Speaking of, I need
Like-
it to be Bite, and I forgot.
Wait, what is it? What do you mean?
Whenever you do like a Bite mission, there's the nothing that like talks to you and shit like that.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah,
'cause,
isn't he like directly related to bad shit on the island?
I think so because he was granted that power in a way. That's what I heard.
He made a deal with the devil.
In terms of story, I swear.
I don't know Fortnite lore.
Fortnite lore is wild.
Fortnite
it
lore
really
is
is.
weird.
But I'm glad they're really going back into you know the story now. It was like, so what I read from like the fan, you know, wiki or whatever,
Wiki?
Wikipedia from
The wiki.
wiki.
the wiki.
I like wiki.
So the IO, okay, so after the black hole, Alex, you
Yo.
remember?
Yeah. We were up all day just watching that shit.
Yeah, the IO ended up sending recruits
We have builds.
to discover
We do
like,
have builds, yes.
the island and stuff. Which was you know Eagle, which was like Journey, Turk, and like Ripley and what's
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Remedy.
Uh-huh.
Sending those characters on the map to investigate anything. But they created a problem creating snapshots of their alter egos.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
you know,
wasn't that the birth of like Remedy and Toxin and all that?
Yeah, and then that's what you know. That's how the Ghost versus Shadow started.
Yeah.
with aliens and stuff.
Which I'm still upset we can't have both skins.
Bonnie's right there.
Maggie said, yeah, I showed her the black
Yeah.
hole, which is true. That was like one of
Damn it.
mine and Maggie's like first ever conversations. I should also throw out
Oh,
that
no,
out there.
Wait, what?
One of the
what
first
did you
times
say?
me and Maggie ever talked, I mentioned that I was watching a black hole all weekend.
Yeah, she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, watching the black.
Yeah, I'm
hole."
just watching a black hole.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
I
fact,
thought
man.
that shit was funny.
Fact, I'm
damn.
sure
You're
you
lucky
heard
she
about-
stayed.
Heard about that whole thing, right? the whole black hole in Fortnite.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was an OG player. What do you mean?
Yeah, but I wasn't around for the end of season 1.
Well, yeah, but you were still like earlier than the both of us.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
was
someone's
there
setting
for a
fires
week.
over here.
That's it.
I played Fortnite
Yeah, I think
when,
you
there
played
was,
creative with us.
when there was one skin in the battle in the shop. There would be
Oh yeah,
one
back
skin,
when there
one,
wasn't like 30 things. Yeah.
there'd be one skin, one glider, one everything.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember back when we had like 8 guys that we just played creative with? And it was
Yeah.
and that was pretty much
I
it.
wish we could do that still.
That was so much fun.
Where is
The
everybody? Yeah,
people
now
that
that I'm
we-
actually like building maps and shit, and like there's no one to play it with.
Yeah, the amount of people that we used to play creative with are not even friends anymore.
True.
You know, like, because when we had Alec almost playing every day, and then we had, what's her name? Monica?
There's one of your
Monica,
friends, I don't remember. Yeah.
There's Junior, or whatever his name is, Irvin.
Y'all remember
then it's like-
Louis?
Yeah, I do
Louis,
remember
yeah.
Louis.
Silent
I
but
think
deadly
he's
man?
I think
he's
I'm
so
still friends with him.
Yeah.
The first time I hopped on there was so many people. Yeah, I think that was one of our creative nights.
Ooh, fucking hell.
It was insane, but it was fun.
I'm dying today, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, fuck. Damn.
Record energy signatures around Loot Lake. What the fuck is this mission?
Anyways, so I would
Good
like
question.
to ask, Alex, how was
Yo.
your day at work?
Not terrible.
Did you
Just
just
busy.
kill yourself? No.
Like usual normal stuff.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Also, hi, Alex.
Yo, there's supposed to be like a marker right here. Is it
Okay.
is it above me or something?
You're over there.
Yeah, I'm currently in the water. You can see where my name is.
Sorry, yeah, because I just saw somebody with the same skin. and I
Damn
thought
it.
that was you.
Feel the coughing pain effect.
Um,
Yeah.
It wasn't
That's not
bad.
what I wanted to do.
Actually, it was pretty slow today. Kinda
Bitch.
Yeah.
even though it was Thursday.
I'm gonna miss
Yeah,
working.
Thursday-
Friends.
It's not that it's busy, it's just for my department there isn't a lot of people. So it was busy because of that.
Nice.
Jackie, I'm gonna miss you working.
Where the fuck is this marker?
Oh, what the fuck?
Is it in the sky or something? I genuinely don't know where this fucking thing is.
Under the water? What? What are you talking about?
Should just be on the ground or in the water.
It's like I have to gather signals around Loot Lake.
Oh, that bullshit.
Sorry.
What the fuck?
No, you're not.
I was gonna.
Yeah, it should be down
I was gonna
here.
Say,
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm trying to like
Maybe-
go under the water, but
Maybe it's not working.
Yeah, maybe you
in,
can't do it.
no,
in
I've
Team
done
Rumble?
one already. I've done one already.
Oh,
Oh.
well, that's probably just glitched out.
God damn it!
no.
What do I miss it?
I don't know. But I was gonna say, Jackie, I'm gonna miss working with you.
Same.
Are one of you not?
Then how about
working
you?
already?
She applied to come to Walmart.
Yeah, I
Did-
did too.
Yeah, but
What?
you haven't heard
Alex.
back yet, have you? Yo.
No, I
Um,
barely did it this week.
Well, cause for me, when I applied and I finished the like the assignment test, it said I failed. Which is weird.
Then did you retake the test?
I wasn't able to.
What do you
You should be
mean?
able to.
Wait,
It said I had to
test?
wait until like
There is
Yeah,
a
there
test
was
to
a
apply,
test.
yes.
yeah.
It's called the
I don't remember
something
taking a
Sales
test.
Associates test.
It's an
Woo!
associate test, yeah.
I don't remember
They didn't make
taking a
you
test
take
at
a
all.
test for it. Wow.
There's a small test.
Yeah, yeah. I saw you
But,
jump in the bubble right after I died.
That is low-key kind of funny that you
Oh,
failed,
you
though. Because, like,
Saw
no
me?
offense, that is a pretty
Yeah.
good test. I didn't even know it was possible to fail.
I had no idea it was possible to fail. I had no clue.
Who made that noise? No idea.
Which noise?
Oh, that was Jackie.
Okay, it was Jackie. I don't know what noise,
Sorry.
but
I'm like, it was either me or Jackie, and I
Any
don't
weird
know.
sounds that come, any weird sounds that come
Whoa!
out, it's probably me.
Wait, whoa, Alex, come on. I know what
Hey,
you're thinking.
you thought it too. You thought it too. I don't want to hear shit.
True, true.
Oh, son of a bitch.
It makes me think of that one fucking like trailer for the Mario movie that just came out. Please tell me you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, the one the cheap. Oh,
Peach says Bowser is coming, and then it does
oh
the
shit.
music.
Oh my god.
Where'd you...
We fell and killed someone.
Oh, fuck. I am lagging.
No, it was a long time ago. I think it was Brit. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was either me or Jackie, and I don't know who. It
Well, if
was
it
one
wasn't
of
Jackie.
us, though. Yeah, it was one of us. Oh my god, I'm missing.
Most likely me.
Oh, what? How did I not hit?
Imagine.
How did I
Oh,
not
this is
hit?
awkward. This is awkward.
Man, what is up? I mean, there should be. Oh!
He should not have killed me.
That hurt.
Nice.
Alright, who the fuck sniped me?
Nobody.
The fuck guy.
The
you son of a
Phantom.
bitch.
Is there any like vending machines nearby? I doubt it at this point in the map. No.
Shooting at, bitch.
At this point in the map. Give me the damage.
Owie, motherfucker.
Hi. I meant to use
Hi.
my shotgun, but I didn't use the shotgun.
Uh-oh.
What shotgun do you have?
Oh no. Oh, no.
The one that can kill people very far away.
How the fuck did I get hit? Excuse me?
Hi. Ow.
Nice.
Oh.
Ouchie.
Wait a minute. Language.
Sorry, what was
whatever
that?
Allison. Yeah.
That was perfectly English.
Yes.
I don't think that was perfect, but you know. Works.
I mean, if we understood you.
Hey, bitch!
I got him. I got him. I got him.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Got someone who just
Got
walked
another
in front of my bullets. That was
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
good job.
Got him again.
You saying good job too.
Got him.
I believe it was you, Moon. You shot.
Oh, thank you.
You shot someone as he was running away.
Shot through the heart.
Ah! Ah!
Ew.
Oh my god, there's so many people! Oh my god, there's so many people! I got an assist for that,
Got
that's
him.
cool.
Don't know how, but I got him.
Ooh, guys, we're catching up.
Oh, I didn't even know we were losing.
Got him.
We
Doesn't
were
sound
like
like
10
we're paying
behind, a minute ago.
I'm gonna delete the, not delete, but like, I'm gonna destroy the
that's not good.
corn maze.
Delete the
Delete the
lake.
corn maze.
Wow.
Delete the corn maze.
No,
Fucking Christ. Damn it!
Hood.
I killed someone on my way out, I'm okay with that.
I died again.
Oh my
I
god.
don't think it's- no, I don't like this anime girl.
Which one?
Ooh, yeah.
The one that just killed me.
Oh, I should be hitting those slaves.
She
I'm
died.
disappointed in myself.
Okay.
We killed each other.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What type of lag and lag?
I'm falling. Ah! What the fuck?
I see so many footsteps, but I'm never ever where they are.
Where?
Never,
Where?
never,
What
never,
the
never.
fuck just happened?
Never gonna give you up.
Let
Oh.
you down.
I'm gonna get blown up by the goo gun.
Start shooting me with
Can't
an
fucking-
A.
Not a bad way to go.
Oh, you should make this into a TikTok. All singing.
Fuck you.
Where is...
The Ranger shotgun, God, I hate it in close combat, but in long combat, God, it's funny.
It's fucking ugly.
It's a bad shotty, but it's very funny.
Ranger sucks, man.
Ranger does
But
suck.
it's funny.
The Ranger assault rifle sucks, but the Ranger
It's
shotgun
such shit.
is-
It is, but like, I can
That
get
person-
shotgun kills at like 30
Got him.
meters.
Ow.
That's true.
Thank you.
Got him.
Oh, come the fuck on.
I'm not even gonna bother fucking
Got him.
shooting.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck me.
Got him!
Yeah, see?
No.
Oh,
Enemies were giving
thank
us
God,
kills.
dude. Someone was about to
Yeah.
explode me.
We Fortnite with the boys and girls. Yeah, that's what we're doing
Oh,
tonight,
hi,
ladies. What's
Feck.
up?
How you
Yeah.
doing?
How's it going?
You're. I hope you know you're reading a blank page.
I hope you know you need to shut the fuck up.
Damn!
He's like right in my camera
I
line,
hope
and
you
he's
know
reading
you a little
nothing.
bitch.
What you chase?
Dude, seriously,
Britton,
the
I'm
member
trying
skin
to
is
look
so
smart.
good. You're trying to look
It's
nah,
really
it's-
good. I really like it.
If you're trying to look smart, man, put some fucking words on that page.
I see Alex is rocking
Wait,
it
Britt,
too.
do you stream?
hmm
Yes.
I did a
Oh,
flippin'
what's your
sexy,
stream?
but yeah.
Excuse me.
Warzy 1. It's the same as
I don't
my.
play this
It's
game
the same
anymore,
as my
you should.
username.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think this and Gwen are gonna be my two main skins that I...
Why did you disappear, Feck? Did you go back to lobby?
No, we loaded into a game.
Oh.
No, we went out to the lobby.
We're on the loading screen.
I am not. Oh, now I am.
Yeah,
Okay, I may or may not leave mid-game, but I will do what
Wait,
I can
what?
while I'm here.
Huh? What the f- Oh, never
guys-
mind.
Oh.
We're all here. We're all
Thanks,
here. We're
Moon.
all here.
Welcome.
So you guys are loading into a game currently.
I tried to
I'm
get
in the
into it
loading
once,
screen,
but
but that
I
doesn't
didn't
mean
like the
much.
next season. Well, this season's about to end, and we're about to get into a new
Okay.
season. So
Yes.
A whole
We're about to get a whole
new-
new
So,
chapter.
like,
Your gun. I didn't see your name on this gun.
Are we actually getting
Here.
a chapter?
I
Here,
see
here,
it.
here. Yeah, no, after Saturday.
no, I bet you wasted all the ammo.
I literally did.
Damn.
Damn.
You said
The
we're about to get a
I
whole
know
new
your tricks
Disrespect.
already.
Oh, yeah.
A whole
Actually-
new chapter?
yeah, a whole
Yeah,
new
man.
chapter. A
Oh.
whole new chapter.
Yeah, technically a whole new world and a whole new chapter.
A new
Bad jokes.
Fantastic point of view.
Bad jokes.
But we'll see. We'll see if this new
Hey,
map
Mike,
is
you
going to
should.
be a
Fuck us.
fantastic view.
I really hope it's a bigger map with more players.
Same.
Well, we'll see.
I want to play with more people. Like the lobbies die too
Same.
quickly.
Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
You are
Never know.
right about that.
I want a chapter that's just all the maps
Oh,
side by
One.
side.
hello, person.
Oh, if you can have it, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh, like
What?
like a mix of chapter 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
No, not a mix. They're all literally
They're
just
just all
next to
one.
each other.
No, they're
Oh,
they're stacked on top of each other like a
Oh, that would be
sandwich.
cool. Or
that'd be cool.
what if it would be cool if we could choose the map.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before you hopped in.
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
this shark needs to fuck off.
Because we were talking about if they were to either loop it back to chapter 1, or if they were to have a rotation or a selection.
Rotational pull.
Sorry?
Oh yeah, actually that would be a good way of doing it, is like, for the next couple of months, you'll get every single map that's ever been a part of chapter 1, and it'll be on a random rotation. And then after a couple of months, it'll swap to a chapter 2 rotation, where all the maps that happened in chapter 2 will be on rotation.
Maybe.
True, but if you think about it, they'll probably because I mean the seasons nowadays last for about like 3 months now.
Well,
But I
yeah,
think
so then just make it 3-month rotations. And then it'll just loop.
Sure. Oh yeah, like a season
Then again,
one.
I give Epic too much credit. Oh shit, add
Damn.
Paradise Palms and I will play the game. Okay, we gotta think about this though. It took them how long to realize fire was hot?
But I know, but
What?
like still, fire
There was a
didn't burn
point
you
in the game where
until
fire didn't burn things. Yeah.
yeah, fire didn't burn you
And
until season 2, chapter 3. No, chapter
And at
2,
that
season
point,
3. Sorry, I
And
mixed
at
that
that
up.
point, fire's been out for a while.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, it burns you for 10 damage, and all. Of
There was a
sudden they changed
whole
it to fucking
12
15.
Yeah,
seasons
and then they made
before
it
that.
15, which is fucking busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's still busted to this day, but
Just
I
make
like
a
it.
chapter 2, season 2 again. Maybe not again.
I mean, we kind of had that. Not really. It wasn't as good as Chapter 2 Season 2, but Chapter 3 Season 2 was.
Oh wait, no. Chapter 2, Season 2 is Spies. Which one's underwater? Was it 3?
3.
3,
3
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
underwater.
Bro, leave me alone.
I think
Oh.
earlier we said 2 going into 3, not 3 going into 4.
I just got 2 dial drops.
I have no idea.
Sure, why not? Here.
Bro.
Oh,
Are you
fucking
really gonna
feck.
Bruh.
Oh, no.
Are you really gonna chase me in fucking whatever this game mode, Team Rumble?
Team Rumble.
Rumble, yeah.
Bro.
Bro.
Some guy chased you for
Ryan on jumps now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted a gun, man. I was just trying to get guns and he
That's
chased
too
me.
bad.
Yeah, not allowed, man.
Oh, careful.
Ah!
Nearby. Why am I lagging?
That's not good.
You better run away, bitch.
I think that same guy's about to chase me. At least I hope not.
Did you watch me get murdered, Britt?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I
Oh my
100%
God.
did.
Sorry?
Britt watched my murder
Ah,
and let it
fuck!
Well, she may not.
What?
She didn't let it happen. She just didn't realize it until it was too late.
No, I saw you get murdered as I was getting into Tilted.
happen.
Or Tainted. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
Tilted.
my God.
But-
People in Tilted are
Doing
still
Tilted.
fucking aggressive for no reason at all.
It's Team Rumble. There's no reason ever.
Well, no. Like yesterday, I was trying to play some solo on Maggie's account because I'm trying to get her level to 100 before the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I had a mission where it's like, oh, landed Tilted and finished in top 10. The first 2 games I played,
Why?
I placed like the
Chill
60s
fuck out, bitch.
because people were just fucking nutty.
What do you got Maggie's level at?
She started at 27 last night. I got her up to like 43. And tonight I plan to get her to at least like 70.
Remember, you only got
Damn.
1 day.
Yeah, no, I got 2 days.
Well, 1.5.
A day and some hours.
I got time.
Yeah, because you'll be
Don't
able
question
to play.
me. Do not question me.
You'll be able to play for
I'm
like.
not
a couple
questioning. I'm
hours.
just reminding.
Yeah, 'cause you'll be-
Literally,
There was no question.
Last season I did it in 2 days. I can do it again.
Yeah, because you have only like a couple hours until like
It was
Maybe.
on G4.
1, 2 o'clock. They'll
Was
shut
on
down
G4.
some of the servers.
I got this. Don't question it.
We're gonna question you.
Where's the chicken pen? Is there any more, or did they stop that?
No, they stopped it. It's bargain week.
Oh, okay. I'm killing them.
Damn.
I need a goo gun.
Goo.
Ooh.
Every time I think of goo, I always think of a goo bug from the Wii.
I think of
The
Gooigi.
world of goo. Thank you. Hey, bitch!
Oh,
Oh.
that's a storm. That kind of blows. Oh well.
Back, help me out here.
Oh, hold on.
Ah, mamma
Yeah.
mia!
Okay, hold on.
Oh my god. I couldn't reload for the
hope
life
Mario
of me.
says Mamma mia in the movie.
Mamma Mia Figaro.
Ah, I'm burning.
Can I say the
Uh-oh.
way
Well, I'm
that
dead.
fucking Chris Pratt says Yahoo when he's in the Mario Kart is one of the
Sorry.
worst ways he could have said it.
Why?
He had no energy behind that Wahoo.
I thought it was his only good Mario line so far.
No, it was one of the worst.
I've seen one trailer for it. That's
The
it.
second trailer came out like 2 days ago.
I'm
But
excited.
yeah, no, the
I'm
way he
excited.
said Wahoo, it hurt. It's just
That was
Wahoo.
close.
I was. Hey, I
got the
will
ones
say.
on G4. I don't know what
give him props
G4
for saying
is.
Let's go.
I don't know what D4 is.
I give him props for saying "Let's It Go" though.
Yeah, no, let's go is better.
Yeah, he's
But-
here.
Hi.
Like it's a fact. He's not gonna be Mario. He's gonna be
Chris
fucking Brooklyn.
Chris Martin.
Ah! Chris Mario. How you doing, Megs?
He ain't Italian.
Oh, Mamma Mia!
Give you that
Mario
right.
Pratt.
Stop! Whoever's sniping me, fucking
He's from Brooklyn.
ass. Oh, he's on. Is he in the tree? Where the fuck
Okay.
is he? Hey, excuse me! Sonny! You're gonna leave me alone, young blood.
Oh, son of a bitch. I keep lagging.
Ouch, ouch,
I didn't
ouch.
even see that guy until I was dead.
I don't know what that squeal was. Why is people? Why do we have sweats in Team Rumble? That makes no sense.
I don't know. Why don't you
Oh,
ask the guys
my
who
bad.
chased me?
Oh, is this you?
Yeah.
Just standing in a
was
fucking
sitting there.
doorway? Careful.
Honestly, Sek, if you can only imagine if this game had
Oh,
proximity
come
chat
on.
right now.
Oh my god.
Dude, this
Proximity chat would
lag
be
is
the worst
fucking
thing to ever put
stupid.
in Fortnite.
I mean, they did that for.
I think it'd be
fun,
funny.
and See how?
I think it
see
would
how that's
be
going.
horribly
Oh, the
racist.
TV channel. Yeah, I remember that.
This
The
was-
TV
I
channel?
honestly
Excuse
don't
me?
want to hear kids.
Sorry. One of my people in chat, Liam, he was telling me about a YouTuber that both of us watch, Scott the Waz. He was on a TV channel, G4, and he was telling me that he just now found out about it. And I was like, I knew about that.
I haven't heard of D4 in forever.
Yeah, no, one of the YouTubers we watched was a part of that channel for a full year. Like all of his YouTube videos just played on that channel.
Oh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it was like really cool.
Son of a bitch. Why am I?
Oh, Moon, get him! Nice. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for this kill.
This is the worst I've lagged in a while. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
came in
I'm
such a
lagging
good
like
time.
fucking crazy, bro.
Fuck off. bitch.
It's so bad. Ugh.
Quick scope. Scoop scope.
Jesus. Jesus.
Oh wait, I thought. Sorry.
Hello.
It is a person.
Why are you trying to kill Alex? You son of a bitch.
Yeah, I'm
Guys,
sorry. I'm fucking
Kinda getting
AFK
that.
and I'm getting shot.
Oh, okay. Somebody just stole that kill.
Where is the
Cool,
shots
cool,
coming
cool.
from? Excuse me?
Shot, 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 shot. Everybody.
Everybody!
Chat,
What's the
chat,
storm looking
chat.
like?
Oh
It
wait.
goes up. Let's come down.
So.
Oh, come on.
No.
No, get over here, bitch. You're dead. Get over here, bitch. You're dead.
Well,
Keep
they're
dying by the
alive.
same
They
person.
need to die.
Darkwing
Oh, don't die, please.
Duck. Why?
I got him.
Thank you.
I just like the freak out.
No, that guy's dead.
What the fuck is this mess?
What mess?
Building.
The building mess.
Oh my god, I hate everything.
I got you, Fick.
I hate everything.
I don't
Oh,
think
are you
do.
kidding me?
Never mind.
Not all just select ones. Yeah, not
You know
every
where-
single video, but like they chose the ones that best fit like a TV series type thing.
Damn, dude.
Holy
This,
shit.
wow,
dude.
this is it's really bad.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, someone who was getting me.
I
I
found a
don't know
Gingy.
who's on their team right now, just fucking popping off with someone killed right now. Why? Aim.
Fuck you,
Where?
Gingy.
I was trying to no scope him. Did not work.
Wow, we are getting
Versus-
Oh,
fucking...
okay. Somebody just.
Yeah,
stole
and
that.
I've given up because we're losing that bad.
Yeah, I haven't been able to stay alive long enough to even see somebody shooting at me.
Yeah.
Why am I not able to fucking aim?
Finally.
Jesus.
Holy shit. Oh, okay. Cool. I don't know where any of those shots came from.
And I wonder where the shots came from.
Bye-bye.
I had a feeling. I got a feeling.
That's not gonna be a good night.
Good night.
Why do you have your name as
Today-
Sting? You are a disgrace.
Is it gonna be a good night?
Maybe.
No, I killed myself.
Is it gonna be a good night?
Yes.
Oh,
you lost. Oh, don't even. We were 30 down.
There's no fucking way. Not even close.
Oh, we gotta go back to lobby for Maggie.
Turn
Huh?
to a lobby.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I think Alex and Maggie are doing duos, right?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh,
You think so?
I don't know what would be
Tonight
easiest for
we're
her
in a-
missions right now. I did like a shit ton of them yesterday, so I don't know what else she has left.
oh yeah, you guys gotta level up. Yeah, probably duos.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
think
what I'm
duos
saying.
would be best for it. Yeah, okay, 49. That's what she's at right now. So I got her 22 levels last night.
Well, then y'all have fun.
Yeah. I guess the rest of us will do squads.
Yeah, have fun with your squads, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna go do some duos.
Good luck on getting her to 100. Good luck,
Yeah.
Mags.
Thank you. Good
Good
luck.
luck.
See ya. Have a good night, y'all.
Alright, who's gonna be a part leader this time? Or is it Britt?
What do you mean? Who's gonna be what?
Oh,
Oh wait, no.
What?
I'm always forgetting most of the time you're a party leader, Britt.
Oh wait.
All right, guys, just stay
Yeah.
behind Britt and I. We've won 4
No,
times
no,
today. We know what
no!
we're doing.
Don't do that shit! Don't do that to us.
Don't say that, Feck.
You're jinxing it.
Guys, look
You're jinxing it.
at these. We got 2
Wow.
of those today.
Wow.
To be fair, we won 4 times today. We just didn't do all 4 in a row.
We did 3 in a row,
We did 3 in a row.
which is almost as cool.
We could have gone all night if Feck didn't have to leave.
You know what, Vaughn? Nobody cares. Moon, I'm proud of you. You're killing
You
it.
know,
Oh no, I'm scared.
we're fine.
We're,
Oh,
Britt and I
okay.
are both at 3. Britt and I have been staying even the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Oh, that's good.
most of the wins are just like with just me and Jackie. So I think the highest what we got up to like what 3 wins in a row, Jackie?
Have I won with Alex this season at all?
Does anybody
I
win
think
with
you have.
Alex ever?
I've won with Alex twice.
I don't think I've won with Alex at all. I don't remember winning with Alex at least.
He's bad luck.
For me,
I think-
apparently, yes.
I think I have because you got mad at me for it, or that might have been last season.
No, that was last season, yeah.
Oh, then I don't think I have. I haven't done a lot of winning in Fortnite this season.
But you are level 200.
Yeah.
Nice. I wish I could be level 200. I don't play enough.
I don't
200.
either. I think I bought like 50 of these levels.
I think so too.
Really?
Where are we going? I
Who's
100%. I bought 80 levels last season.
Yeah, you bought straight to Darth Vader.
Yeah, because you wanted
I 100%. Like second day, I had Darth Vader. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit.
As Britt remembers, I was playing Fortnite like almost every day back in Chapter 3. I mean Chapter 2, not Chapter 3.
Yeah, until you took a month off.
That whole month kind of like fucked me over. No month, no internet for a month was.
So who's excited for Chapter 4?
I am actually.
I am intrigued. I don't know how excited I am.
I'm excited to not look at anything Chrome anymore.
We'll see what happens.
I'm excited. I'm just not gonna look at any thing that's going to spoil, like literally, because I had too many of that in Chapter
Yeah, I don't look at spoilers. Like, I don't even look at the group chat until I see what's going on. Specifically just because I'll see it for myself. Oh well.
Yeah.
Whenever that
have to
happens,
get
it
those.
happens.
I have to get my
Honestly,
brain out of Team Rumble mode and tell myself that shield matters.
Yep, shield matters. You don't respawn unless
And
we
you
get
can't
you.
do
Unless
it.
if they have the card.
And you can't build.
Oh yeah, and this is no builds. Not that Feck really uses build anyways.
Looks like
Ah, help!
I was alone. You need help?
where are you? What? Oh, you're down here.
I don't even know what's happening.
I'm on the way, Moon. Don't die.
I don't even have like a proper gun yet.
Oh, I think Moon's fine.
Yep, I'm fine.
Holy shit! I'm fine. Oh, I'm less fine. What the fuck? Oh, okay, that was interesting. Oh, okay, that's interesting too.
Ooh, I like that one. Damn it, where did that person go?
Okay, sure.
Whose cat was that?
We got a kitten. Nope, it was just Moon.
I forgot.
Oh.
I forgot he wasn't here for that.
Going back to that
I
again.
can make.
Just him.
I do remember that. I just forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
here.
goodness.
It's just, he...
I was like, somebody's cat just yelled right into a microphone.
Oh
Nope,
man, that was fun.
That did not sound like
just
BB.
Moon. No, it was not. BB is asleep.
Taro is somewhere.
It does kind of sound like, Obi-Wan, though.
Obi.
Thero's probably like just on his like adventure.
He is either at the bathroom door rolling around, or he is trying to break into the closet.
I had someone with me up here. I don't know where they went, though. I kind of hid, because I didn't have anything.
Up here?
Up on... Oh, yeah. Yeah, up by the lodge.
They killed somebody here, but he died instantly, so it wasn't his friend.
Sorry, I was AFK for a moment.
I genuinely don't know where he went. He was walking around, and then I lost him.
He
And he
probably
could just be gone.
left.
He could have just fucked off.
I'm gonna run to this gas station real quick, because I have a key. And I want to see what guns they have to offer me.
Oh damn it!
I'll go with you.
This thing's
A person over there? It's over here.
uh,
Yep.
I'm stuck.
That's what she
Yep.
said.
Hey,
Hey,
That might have been the guy.
Sorry,
if I'm
sorry,
honest.
sorry.
probably is. I don't want any of these.
okay, game. Jesus,
Fuck.
Christ.
Epic.
Man.
Is this a part
Don't
where you're
carry-
fucking
don't
sneaking
carry
trying
your
to make us
kills.
lag because there's
Don't
lag
play with
over
your food, Feck.
I was gonna throw him in front of a car and run him over.
Fucking Christ.
there? Wow.
Well,
So, you know, you probably saved him a lot of pain.
and
being
gave him
honest.
the merciless death. Merciful death.
It's pretty bad when shotgunning is the mercy kill.
Well, yeah, but you know, comparatively.
Really, so?
Yeah.
Can I join you?
Oh, what?
Everybody
Who did
okay?
that?
Mhm.
So you could do that? Oh, never mind.
You
They
trying to
blew up a
run?
gas station.
I did. Sorry.
Oh, the seeds. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's right. I need to shoot Tucker till it's ziplining. So.
Sorry.
Alright. See what I get.
Oh.
Oh, a legendary. What kind of legendary? Wait, is that... That's a mythic! Aw, you son of a bitch.
What happened, Vaughn?
My
He found a
freaking
tree.
grill.
It's Vaughn's tree.
It hurts.
Where do you even get seeds anymore?
From pods.
Isn't it if you break the tree?
Oh.
No.
Oh.
You have to, there's like those... It's from like
Over
the
here,
tree
Feck.
roots. Oh, okay. Jesus.
Yeah, there are reality
Oh, the
seed
tree
pods.
branches.
Tree branches, thank you. Yeah.
Ah.
Or roots?
Yeah, I think the roots.
I don't want to be sick anymore.
You're not. You killed my tree.
No, I didn't. It's still there. See?
No, it's gone. I'm taking my anger out this way.
Hit him for 110.
I need to evolve my Evachrome weapons. Bong, there's a guy down here.
Oh no!
Oh, he's so low. Got him. There we go. Jesus.
Cut. Fucking wolf. Fuck off.
Fawn, what happened to your tree?
What is that really bright?
Don't you ask Jackie?
Red light. What? What?
But I asked you, Vaughn. What happened? Did your tree get an owie?
No.
Shockwave to death.
No, it ended up getting a death penalty.
Shit.
It got put down.
Oh god, guys, fucking.
It got cut
Shit.
down.
Oh my god.
He did it. For paper. Sorry.
It got what I've always wanted. The sweet, sweet relief of death.
Oh, hi, wolf. Oh, you fucking dick.
My sister just dropped a bunch of receipts on my computer. Help.
Huh?
God, I need everything that I have.
She dropped a bunch of receipts on my computer. Help.
Throw them around the room wildly.
Okay.
I don't... Probably don't want her to get in trouble, but...
Yeah, never mind. I'm not trying to get in trouble again.
Ooh, gotta run.
And there goes...
What
oh
happened?
yeah, right over here.
Yep, use this thing.
Time to fly. Hey, bird.
Ooh, run! Keep running!
The sniper shot.
Just keep running!
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Eh.
huh?
Go through
My
the-
dad's here. Crap.
There we go.
Oh. Go go.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye!
Oh crap.
Come on, let's go!
It's fine. Got him.
Evil Chrome. Ah, fuck, I'm stuck.
Damn it. Yeah.
I keep forgetting that the 0 point is
Right under the
under the
right under the water.
the lake.
The Isle? Did I hear that right?
No,
It's
under the
just
lake.
right under the water.
The
Oh,
0
Right
point.
down there.
No, I thought I heard Feck say
I said island at first, but meant water.
Oh. I was gonna say, like, sir, this is not a Walmart. Oh, okay.
Got a person.
Oh, there's somebody going through you. Is he gone again? Oh, I see.
No, he's over here. I need
Right
to.
up top.
Whoa! 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 Oh, no! 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 Don't fucking fish me, you fucking cocksucker. Sorry, that was aggressive. Run, Feck! Go! Where are you
Oh
at?
my god! What the
I
actual
think you already got
fuck
my-
just
you already got
happened to
my
me?
card. Take the launch pad.
We just got fucking third partied? Are you kidding me?
No, it was the same people.
No, we got third partied because I was fighting a different squad.
Oh.
I'm gonna boot Vaughn real quick, and then I'll come back for your card, Britt.
Yeah, the
That's
cornfield
rude.
should
There's
be
nobody
fine.
here. They're just leaving me? You're not gonna have enough time to get my card. I'm about to be covered by the storm.
Please keep missing. Please keep missing.
Or
Please keep missing. Please keep missing.
I'm about to be covered. Nah, you're not gonna be able to get me.
Nope, nope. I'm going for you, Brick. Where are you gonna go for your car? Is there a vehicle here? No, there's no fucking vehicle.
People are still in there.
Feck, you just pulled a Vaughn. How could you?
Oh, what the fuck? Ow!
Oh, that
Jesus,
sucks.
Are you
Jesus
fucking
Christ!
serious, my guy? Are you fucking serious? Go fuck
Where
yourself.
are you, Fat? I don't know
Grabbing
where you
Brit?
went from. Oh, you were grabbing Brit? I didn't
That's
know
what
that.
we said we were doing, wasn't it?
I didn't know! I thought you were serious!
Don't fucking shoot me with a gun like a man, you pussy. God damn.
Wow.
Question. I might have an answer. What's up, Moon?
Huh?
Moon has a question.
Oh, yeah.
This hasn't asked it yet.
Is murder legal yet?
Unfortunately not, but
You can rebrew rebrit Vaughn. You can rebrit.
I want it. Are you? Is your card in Storm?
Yeah.
his is, yes.
All right.
Or at least it's about to be. I was on Grim Gables, but it's about to be, so.
Well, I'm going to Shining Town. They're rebooting it. Fucking Grim Gables.
Are you still here, Moon? I don't know. That was very hectic, and she very well could have left.
She could have left at my sudden outburst.
Dude, that was fucking insane. Uh-oh.
Welcome back, Brad. Sorry, I wasn't able to get you.
I can't stand getting disrespected by a Morty.
Wait, it was a Morty skin?
Yeah, it was Morty.
Yeah. He pickaxed me to death after shooting me in the face after storm camping. So I was just a bit upset.
I don't know. You pulled a
I hate
Vaughn.
when people do that. Like, come on. Like,
How did I pull a Vaughn?
You left me to die. That's
I
how.
came right back for your card.
You left me to die. Yeah,
Shit,
for my
actually.
card, meaning I died. Can I ask you a question?
told you
Yes,
my
you
plan.
can ask a question.
You didn't.
What is your question, Moon? How could you?
Careful,
You could have
because
objected.
there's people. I think I heard people around.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Brit,
know.
They were still
Numbers.
camping you while you were in the storm.
Ah.
Okay, why am I
There's
laughing?
people-
Jeez.
Careful.
Dumbass.
Okay. Sure.
Holy
Hide,
shit!
hide,
Holy
hide,
shit! Holy
hide.
shit!
What are my
You guys are
pronouns?
pronouns.
She, her, they, them, anything,
Oh, no.
honestly. Oh, it's that same guy that fucking.
Brit, I gotta pick
It's
a
Oh my god!
It's Morton Sasuke.
That's the guy who killed me,
Is it
and the
just
guy
me
that
and them?
feck knocked.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, you can fuck off, buddy. Stand up.
Thank you for asking.
Stand up. Oh, I know what they're gonna say.
What are yours, Jackie?
Stop, man. It's annoying.
Uh oh.
No, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so annoying, man. These guys are annoying.
A little bit.
Jeez.
I got killed
Not
with an
that-
ugly ass Morty. Morty died. Good.
A party
No,
member is in the
the
lobby.
other-
You cannot stay with the team.
What?
What?
I don't know. It told me that I couldn't.
We have to
ready
switch
up.
to trios anyway, so.
Oh yeah. No, that one guy with the the
She's
fiery
okay,
skin,
cool.
he should have fucking died.
Sounds good.
Are you
What's
okay,
that?
Feck?
No.
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 It's like no. Wait, Britt, what did Jackie ask?
She just asked me what my pronouns are.
Oh, no, I do not want to jump into anything. I want to watch the video again.
Oh, Feck.
What's up?
So far, Sean has done poorly at keeping people alive.
Sounds about normal for him.
Damn. No.
To be fair, it's a very difficult thing to do, making choices in a horror game that will inevitably get everybody killed. But I think at this point, he should just go for the genocide run.
I don't know. I did really good in it until the end of the Corey, and then I got everybody killed. I got everybody fucked up at the end.
I need to. Do you have that? Do you have
Yeah,
that uploaded on your channel or no?
yeah, both VODs are on my channel.
Okay. I need to watch that. Have a good night.
I
We
replayed
shall
the
win.
second half of the game, in the same sitting that I finished it in because I fucked up so bad. In my first playthrough.
Fair enough.
I just saw birds flying in place.
Yep.
It's normal.
It's very, very.
See it all the time.
Every day.
You want to go where you just died? That's brave.
Redemption, you know?
Damn.
Would go where
Oh.
you die again?
Feck is just savage tonight, man. Jesus Christ.
I'm finally starting to feel better after being sick all week.
Is this your villain
eaten a-
arc?
I've eaten a real meal for the first time in days, so I'm feeling pretty good today.
Nice.
It's
I'm feeling
it's
pretty on
beginning
top
of
of
the
it.
Villain Lord himself.
I have
Okay,
eaten more than
so-
one thing today.
Oh.
I haven't. I've only eaten one thing today. And I was lucky to do that, I think.
Thank you, Jackie. You have a good night.
Yesterday, I ate a piece of pumpkin pie.
You what?
That's it.
That's the end of the story.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, why are you blowing shit up?
Because I want to? Don't kill this guy.
He doesn't stop coming after me.
Oh my god. Let me kill him. There we go. Jesus fucking Christ. I couldn't hit him for the life of me.
What is fix? Feck,
Literally
your-
right
yours
after
is
I
like-
asked Vaughn not to kill him. I couldn't hit a
I'm
single
not
fucking shot.
Currently live, but I'm pretty sure it's just defective.
I think it's, yeah, it's
That's my
defective.
guess.
Jackie, I'll text it to
Really?
you.
I was gonna say, Jackie, if you're still in my chat, I can do the command feck, and I can get you a link to his channel.
Never mind. Why is it so hard to open these doors?
I have a command for all my friends. It's just easier.
She said okay.
Do that really quick.
Sabina. Give her name.
There you go.
Hey, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Feck, you got another follower.
Hey, thank you.
Why am
We have more friends.
Yay.
Yay.
why
I'm
the
so,
hell
I'm
is
so
it-
close to 100. Good night. Good night. Have a good night, Moon.
Oh, I thought I was gonna hit a headshot. Pistol power.
Holy shit. Thank you.
Did that get anywhere near you?
Yep.
Nice.
Right next to me.
Got him. I just
Swimming around down there.
It's just not
enemy. I just not.
good. Tell the tell, yep, sure.
Okay. What?
Guys, Jack said goodnight.
Good night, Jackie.
You're good, Jackie. That's
Come on down to the
funny.
middle of the run.
See ya.
Jackie talking shit about Vaughn.
No, she had a typo of, instead of saying tell the guys I said goodnight, she said tell the gays I said goodnight. It was
Oh.
quite funny.
You know.
Yeah, you know.
You know.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Good night. That's it.
Just say goodnight.
Don't even worry about it. There's someone coming up to you, Vaughn. On the zip line.
Yeah, I figured. I was just looking for this person.
There's
Where
another
do
guy
they
down
have-
below too.
Where did they go? Gone?
Oh my god. Can't hit this guy for the life of me.
Hey, sir.
Never mind. Alrighty then.
You guys completed the bounty. Good job.
Yeah, it was my kill. But, you know. Lon took it.
Oh wow. When does that happen?
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. Hello, Sabina.
Okay, Zach, how did I not hit you?
Because you suck?
No, I literally hit you directly in your face.
Yeah, but I didn't respect it, so I just didn't, you know. Let it happen.
I don't accept, so it didn't fucking happen. Alright. Tell the boulder how you really feel, man.
Hey, look, I'm actually playing Rocket League, guys.
Hey.
Well, you fucking suck at Rocket League.
Well, I can't actually move the boulder.
Nothing out of the ordinary there.
Eh.
Oh, good, he didn't process that.
Oh, shit! Hello. I jumped and landed on top of you.
Oh, hi, Peck.
Hey, how's it going?
Really good.
Are you? What the fuck did you do? Ah! What the fuck did you do? Vaughn!
You and Britt shouldn't be allowed to drive that thing.
Wait, Vaughn. Come back here.
Yes.
I need some help. So, I'm gonna attach to you, and you're going to jump off the cliff. At the same time.
Oh my.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna
This
see
can
how this
only
goes.
end well.
Let's get up here.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Ah, no! I missed it. Oh, Vaughn, you need to come back. We need to go the other direction.
oh, there's one Stacy's here.
Oh, no.
Oh no, 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 no.
Gwen Stacy.
Ron, get out of there.
Yeah, it's all of
I'm
them.
on a run. I'm on a run. I'm on a run. I'm on a run.
I can't even see them. They're in.
You see 'em.
They're in the corner. Okay, there's a guy up here though.
We should leave. We should just go towards circle and
No.
go.
I want blood.
You're not gonna get it. You're just gonna die.
I just killed someone.
Alright. Beck, fine.
Us and the NPC can do this as a trio.
Don't fucking stand there, you
Come
fucking
on, that
idiot.
had to have been 250 meters. Right. Please.
Nope.
Fucking
How?
dodging. Bobbing and weaving. Bobbing and
To the
weaving.
top of that place?
That's I did it up there.
Hey, Brett. You're gonna be mad.
How much is it?
It's 240.
Son of a fucking.
I can buy it.
Ugh! No, it was I was gliding, and it was 240, and I needed 250. I'm so pissed off. That's bullshit. Ah,
Oh,
hi.
what?
How are you? I have the boom sniper. Oh, that was
Oh,
smooth.
nice.
Goddamn.
Welcome to Coney. Well, Chrome crossroads. Who the fuck is shooting? Fuck off. Oh, we can go to the vault.
Right in front of
Okay.
people?
Yeah, why
fine.
not?
I'll shoot at them. Where the... Oh, hi, Britt. Where the fuck are they?
Hi, ow.
It's a good question. Where are they?
My turn to get a sniper rifle.
Oh, this is true. Thank you.
I'll take that one.
Albert.
Are they dead? Did you get them all?
Yeah.
Wow. It's just me. Like, are you having fun with that blue guy?
Do.
Yeah, always. Turning down
Oh,
trees.
yeah.
Okay.
Is that a boom sniper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you I had a boom sniper.
Jesus
Shit.
Christ. This guy's shot at me. I'm over here thinking it's a heavy sniper. Oh, a hybrid. Oh, yeah.
Where are we going?
Stay on top of the blimp. Sorry, the bloom. Not blimp. Sorry. I'm thinking of season 2.
I'm gonna try and make it over to where my marker is. So I have to do this mission.
Actually, you can actually just hop on her.
What?
Yeah, you can just.
Oh no,
but Brett needs to
I
use-
need the glider.
Oh, okay.
Brett has a mission that needs to be done.
Oh, you'll make it.
I should. If
Get
I don't, I'll be
sniped out of the
especially
sky,
pissed
one
off.
shot.
Shut the fuck up. Because knowing me, that'll actually happen.
How fucked would that be?
Well, I did it, but it didn't give me the notification that I did it. What? Glide 250 meters with the grappler glider in one shot. I just did that.
God damn it, where are all the people at? Oh.
Right next to where I am.
Hit him for 105 one. There we go. Who is he fighting? Down there.
Oh, game, please stop lagging for one goddamn second. Naruto. God damn it. I only had one more bullet. I would have been anyway. Where'd he go?
In this house somewhere.
I want that.
Right there.
Oh my god, I still don't want that.
Ow.
Oh my god.
Oh, I see another person.
I'm trying to be Spider-Man and I can't.
Smack.
Get him for... What are they doing?
I don't know.
They're just swimming?
Yeah.
I see the tip of your head, Naruto. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
Britt came back. Never mind.
the
We'll
fuck?
hang out here. I was going to join Britt, but Britt came here. Vaughn, what are you doing?
Taking me down.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Naruto. Smack.
His friend's running this way.
Go team leader. Smack. Oh wait, what? I just downgraded. What the fuck?
I think that's just our NPC friend.
I think somebody went through the wall. So I'm going to go back to you guys. That sounds like a problem.
It's done here. Okay, hit him.
Woo! Why are you shooting at me? I was the one sniping you. That's not us.
Yeah, somebody was gliding away.
Oh, somebody
He's on top of
set
the fucking
a
balloon.
fucking forest fire.
He's on top of the balloon. It's north,
What balloon?
it's like 24.
That one.
He's not on top of that balloon at all. Unless he's on the
think he's
other
on the
side and we
backside.
just can't fucking see him.
I think he
Oh.
is.
Two down
There a person
people
down there?
here. Okay.
That is a person crawling.
Well, I had a sticky
I'm not
connected to
upset.
him, but that's fine. Found him.
That's
Help! Help!
Is he up there?
Feck.
holy shit.
I'm down.
Where are you?
I'm
There's
leaving.
heals, there's heals down here.
I
Jesus Christ, how many splashes do you guys have? Oh
I had 6.
I had 4.
my god.
I
Yeah,
don't know
welcome
what you're
back.
talking about, Vaughn.
Naruto's up there, by the way. So just...
Captain America's on here.
Yeah, he's very much so up there. Fucking Christ.
And he's gone. Wait, up where?
on top of our balloon.
Not our balloon. Unless
The
he
other one?
moved.
No, he moved.
Yeah, no. He's up here now.
He's up here. Fine, on ours.
There's literally a person. There's people in this bush right here. A2. A2.
Oops.
A2.
You are a terrible shot. Okay, never mind.
Is down. Behind the tree.
I'm like, there's another guy, right?
Yeah. Ow!
Over that
What
tree.
the fuck? Here. Where did you get sniped from?
Got him. I don't know where we're getting hit from. Oh, right here, right here, right here.
I figured. 35. Wait, he's dead.
Ow. I fucked myself up a little bit.
Oh.
Where's he
Shit
at?
just gave him with the 360.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Wait.
god.
Check.
Keep
I'm
your
just
hands
gonna do
way,
this.
bro. I'm so sorry. Ah!
I told you I
Oh,
was just gonna
sick.
do that.
You didn't give me time to react, really.
Oh, I told you what I was doing.
When was somebody glide? What? He's behind a rock.
Oh, it's just that there's 7 people left. Woo!
Whoa! There's other people! What?
Yeah, there's 7 people left.
Ah! Ah! Ow, 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 ow! Ow, 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 ow! Holy
I'm dead.
fucking
Yeah,
shit!
That fucking sucks. Because they want to fucking play that shit, and Naruto's gonna try it.
Oh, no. Don't even bother with that.
Wait. Oh, yeah,
Shit.
Brit.
Shit.
I was gonna say, come, go to this corner. Or never mind.
I can't, yeah. No, no, no.
Jesus
Fuck
Christ.
off.
they need
There's nowhere to go.
There's
There's
another
nowhere for you to hide.
person over there. Oh my god. That's...
Fuck off!
Alright, I gotta
Oh,
say goodnight to
fucking
Shy real
Naruto.
quick. I'll be back.
That is so excessive. I'm gonna do one more game after this, I think.
One more game.
After this next game or after
No,
this?
when you get back, it'll be my last game.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Ow.
Because it is. I didn't even notice it's 1:30. We got on late.
Excuse me, miss, but it's like one something for you.
Why does it say that none of us are readied up? Are you in the lobby now, Vaughn?
Yeah. Whoops.
How could you?
Where is it?
I just took off my glasses. I can't see shit. Cranker of 90s. Earned Sniper Expert during... That's not what a 90 is. Cranking 90s has nothing to do with sniping.
It doesn't.
The fuck? Oh well.
Wait, who said that?
Uh,
Or was that a name?
this is an achievement. It's called Cranker of 90s, and I earned Sniper Expert. That is,
What the hell?
it's not related to each other. Not at all. 6 friends online. What the fuck? Alex, Maggie. Okay. Ooh.
Did you see the trailer for the new Transformers movie?
No.
It actually looks pretty good.
Nice. I don't really
think
watch
there's,
Transformers though.
And what else was there? There's Indiana Jones also.
Indiana Jones what?
It's called Dial of Dreams or something.
Interesting.
Okay, it's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
The Dial of Destiny?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's just a cat. I think. Yeah.
We got Indiana Jones coming out. We got Super Mario Brothers, Transformers, Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm more excited for the Mario Brothers movie though.
Ready up already, you nerds.
No.
Says the nerd who walked away from his PlayStation.
To go say goodnight to my partner.
He still has pain. Damn it, man.
Nerd.
Whoa.
Did you get them sick?
No, they're always coughing for other reasons.
Okay. I understand the reasons. It's just, with this week and you being sick, you never know. And to be fair, you did ask if you got me sick through the screen earlier today, so. I still need to upgrade Eva Chrome, though. Which means I need kills.
Wait, you haven't upgraded the
Devon.
Evacom twice?
Not yet. I only did
thought
it
you
once.
did that earlier.
No, I only did it once.
Oh.
There were 2 different quests. Evolve weapons once and evolve weapons twice. And I didn't realize that.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do one more after this to play Bites.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about Bite. I honestly don't care. I'm so tired, and my tooth hurts so bad.
Fair. It also might be another, like, drive 5,000 meters in a Chrome vehicle one, which will take forever.
Yeah, no fucking thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we want to.
Are you working tomorrow, Feck?
No, but I have to drive to drill tomorrow.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot you had drill. Lame. This motherfucker's in the army. Lame.
I know. It's very lame. I wish I could not be.
I wish I could, like, stop. Good, I got a new.
Unfortunately, quitting isn't legally allowed.
Nope, you gotta be discharged.
Sounds like sounds like you're a robot. You have to be discharged. You see
I'm
him-
government. I'm government property, Vaughn.
Yeah.
True. It's a ranger.
A gold ranger. So you know, there's that at least, I guess.
That's true. It's gold, Feck. You like gold?
Yeah.
Gold means good, Feck.
Yep,
Have on.
Wait.
it sure does.
Good shit. Oh, never mind.
Pirate wizard was feeling crispy.
Sorry, what?
In the kill feed, somebody's name was a pirate wizard.
You didn't tell us that you were opening up the vault?
I lost my train of thought when I was going.
What the fuck, Vaughn?
What the fuck?
Well, there's plenty of heals.
Rude.
Wow. Wow. Oh, there's plenty of heals. What happened to all the guns, Vaughn?
It was just only a purple prime.
Uh-huh.
You
Damn.
want to silence SMG?
Anything, Vaughn. Anything. Anything.
That was about it.
Wow.
Why
Just
did you?
wow.
Why? What the? Yeah, I'll take it. Oh shit. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Easy peasy. Oh god. Oh god.
Oh, okay. I can't go in there.
Feck, where are you?
Up here.
Well, that's not what I meant to do.
Where are
I
you?
meant to do that one.
Hey. Ow.
Hello. I was really thinking about it, but I'm not gonna be that much. Ah, you
Fun!
were thinking while I was thinking.
Did you
Son
fucking
of a
set up
bitch.
this one too?
Yeah, I did.
Fun, you fucking... Why?
I don't know. What?
Jesus Christ. Ah! Holy shit.
Damn on your trash.
Damn it.
What the fuck are you guys even doing?
Thanks, you sent me exactly where I wanted to go.
Wow.
Are you doing shockwave battles? The fuck?
I hit him with one, and now he's hitting me with a bunch.
Is he even hitting you? I thought you said he was trash. I figured that
Because it
means...
was-
I mean, he is.
not.
He's missed a bunch of times.
Yeah, because it was shockingly impressive.
Sorry, did you just say shockingly imprevalent?
Impressive.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
pretty
what
sure
the
you said
fuck
imprevalent.
kind of word?
Wait,
I'm
I
pretty-
never
pretty
used
sure-
that word.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
sure
what
I heard imprevalent.
I heard imprevalent. Which is not the right word to use. But,
Is
I've
that
never
even a
used that
word?
yeah, imprevalent is a
Huh?
word, yes.
What word is that? Use it in a sentence, Britt.
See,
I would love to, but now I can't get impressive out of my head.
that's impressive.
Hold on.
Shockingly imprevalent is not the correct word.
Shockingly
Use
imprevalent
of the
is
word
not.
imprevalent.
No, that is not.
No.
That is the sentence. Alright, guys, let's go towards the mushroom
Kingdom.
Ah! Holy shit! I didn't notice that I was so far away.
Oh, never mind. We should probably head that direction.
In direction.
Widespread in a particular area or at a particular time. So, no, prevalent is not the... Imprevalent isn't a word. Prevalent is not even the right word.
Huh.
Huh.
Whee. Oh.
Run!
Ow.
Run, Brett, run!
I literally slid off the roof.
Oh my god, it's
The
still
roof
so
of
far
the
away, what the
building.
fuck?
You're like right there. Ron, what did that building ever do to you?
I'm here in Fortnite because that's the wrong building that everybody choose.
That's for you, Britt.
What?
That med miss I just marked is for you.
Fawn, why are you exploding him?
Because this building doesn't belong.
What? Because
Huh?
the building doesn't belong to him? Is that what you just said?
No, I was saying that this building shouldn't even be here.
Oh. It doesn't belong here.
I didn't mean to throw that. Oh, son of a bitch.
Uh-oh. What did you throw?
The fucking chill keg. Well, I
Oh.
got 2 other ones. That's good. Fuck, are you
You guys,
fighting?
there's fighting that way.
Oh,
Fact,
I
I
did
was
not mean to hit
stumped.
you. Hi.
Ah!
fuck you. Where are you, buddy?
He's
Right
in
here.
an octane.
Holy shit! There you go.
I still haven't really done any
Where's
octane
people?
missions.
Yep, people are flying in. Don't worry, guys. I'll get them.
It's a good gun. Oops. Wow. Oh my god, please stop doing that. What the actual fuck just happened?
Did the boulder do that?
Yeah!
Wow. Boulders are impressive. They do a lot of damage.
I turned around and half the fucking building was gone.
Okay, you know how Feck told us that we shouldn't be allowed to drive the Octane car?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well-
you guys crashed it regularly. I crashed it trying to crash into Vaughn.
No, no. Bullshit. Bullshit. You just shouldn't be... None of us should be allowed to drive it at this point.
I should be allowed to drive this thing. I have style when I drive this thing.
Yeah, bullshit.
Leia! I'm sorry, we're enemies! I can't see her through the tree, fuck. Where'd
Where's
she go?
she at?
What the fuck? I don't know, but I need to
She's
kill
over
her, so
here.
don't...
Oh, I see her, but I'm going after people on the left. If I do see her.
I need
But
to
I
deal
see
damage
people.
to her.
Kakashi. Smack him.
Feck. Chill.
Damn it.
What's up, dumbass?
We got her.
Oh wait, what was that? No, I didn't upgrade it. I need to fucking upgrade this weapon, bro. Fucking hell.
Take all that. Wait. Oh no 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 no. I might be in danger.
Changer.
Danger. I meant danger.
Changer.
What's up? Where's the danger? What's going on?
'Cause there's people
Explain
shooting.
everything. Hurry up. Tell me.
Okay.
How am I supposed to explain it when you're rushing?
Fucking Christ.
41, whatever.
Holy
that
fuck.
damage There's a lot of damage. Take all of it, you son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
It sounds really wrong, but
Someone
Ah,
went
you
into
son
that
of a
bush.
I do not have the range to fight these guys. Oh my god. Fight these
I
guys.
don't really either. Ooh, don't shoot at me, bitch.
oh, please stop. Mama
Is there
saying
better
stop,
range
mama,
weapons
stop.
anywhere, please? Damn it, game.
Ooh, I gotta run. I gotta run. Oh, guys.
What the
Fucking
Oh
hell. No, I'm dead. God damn it. Fuck these people, bro. Did they nerf the upgrade for the fucking Evachrome weapons too? What the hell?
No, it's been the same.
Has it been? Because I've killed like 3 people with my Evachrome weapons and nothing.
Should we go for Brit, Vaughn?
Yeah, let's wait a little bit. Because I know they're gonna be waiting for us,
I'm
but
so sick of this.
most likely they'll be moving. I'm gonna keep the med kit just in case.
It's not like there's a truck in... Oh, well, there's a truck in Chonkers. Maybe.
Are they literally just...
What are you... In fact...
What's up?
I'm gonna use this now.
What's up, Brit?
What? You are giving me a headache. That's what.
Don't watch me.
I'm going over to Vaughn. Fucking Christ, man. Oh my god.
Keep it. Got it.
Come on, let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vaughn, I would get rid of the
There's a
shield case for
tram-
that,
I have
honestly.
shockwaves. Come here.
Oh, there's.
Get up
Good.
here.
Didn't Brick say there's a truck here? There's a truck.
I mean, yeah, there's a
Save
few
the shot,
vehicles.
just in
It's
case.
it's rocky.
Alright, well, we have one chance for revival, so.
We're getting. Or that works. Oh, I almost hit you. Ah!
Oh no! Run away! Run away! Run away! Run away!
Shockwave.
Run away! Run away! Run
Don't
away!
kill me. You don't get the kill.
Oh, shit.
You're a fucking dumbass, dude. Oh my god, man. This is so fucking stupid.
Oh,
Oh,
all right, cool, cool.
Don't question me ever again.
Are you Sonic? What the f-
Uh
Are you Sonic?
Okay, well, you know, that happens.
That's game.
Oh man. Huh? The devil killed you.
Well, that's my last game of this chapter with you guys, I guess.
I thought you and the devil were tight, man. What happened?
I don't know. Probably because I don't play her enough. She's probably mad.
Well, peace out.
Yeah, later.
Have a
This is
good
our
night.
last time playing.
See you
playing this
next
chapter
chapter,
together, Brett.
Feck.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you later,
See you
buddy.
guys. Next chapter.
See you later.
Peace.
See ya.
Shai says goodbye and good night.
Goodbye and
Good
good night.
Bye and good night.
Later, guys.
Later.
Oh man. Why do I have 200 V-Bucks? Oh, I know I have 200 V-Bucks. Because I spent money. I remember. Alright. That is it for me. I was gonna build the Lego piece, but it is extremely late. So I'll build it tomorrow and show you guys, on stream. If I even stream tomorrow. See, I don't know. We'll see what happens. In any case, I'll show you guys what I have next time I stream. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. What is it supposed to be? I think it's supposed to be... It's the X-Wing fighter that's... Hold on. Can you guys see it? Kind of. It's the X-Wing fighter right here. That's what it is. So... Nice. I'll see you guys next week. Or next week. What? I'll see you guys... I don't know. I'll see you guys somewhere... sometime. At some point. Peace out. Have a good night. Bye.